Why the you in my room?
Let me get some cognac.
So take your drunk to the store.
Let me get some cognac.
Soundstripe.
So I asked you guys which season of College Hill you wanted me to do next, and y'all said VSU. So here we are. I didn't remember this season as much as I remembered Virgin Islands, probably because there wasn't a major event in it, yet and still, this season was entertaining. It was nostalgic, of course. Certain moments happened during this season, such as Hurricane Katrina and Rosa Parks' death, and the cast was cool, though there was one cast member who truly got on my last nerves. Just a quick reminder, this season was 20 years ago. It's so crazy to think about. So I'm sure these people have grown out of these behaviors and learned from their mistakes. This is just a fun trip back in time. So with that being said, I've watched College Hill, Virginia State University all over again, and I have my thoughts. So let's get into it. We start this season by meeting the cast one by one. First, we meet Deidre. Deidre was from Connecticut. Her major was mass communications. She was also a cheerleader, a proud woo-woo, and considered herself a pretty cool girl. Next, we meet Audrina. Audrina reminded me of Alicia Keys. She didn't look like her that much, but her demeanor was very 2000s Alicia. She even talked like her.
I haven't lived a hard life, not nearly as bad as I've seen other people's lives.
Audrina was from New York, and her major was economics. We meet Rodney. Rodney was from Virginia. His major was sports management, and he was a Sigma. His father had passed when he was younger, but his older brother became a father figure to him. Rodney was your typical it frat boy, and he was a cutie. Deidre, Audrina, and Rodney are the first cast members to meet one another. Next, we meet Orlando. His major was business management, and he was a frat boy too. Orlando was a Q. He joined Deidre, Audrina, and Rodney on the bus. Next, we meet Ray. His major was mass communications. He minored in public relations. Ray has actually been on other reality shows such as Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Ray is gay, but not flamboyant. He doesn't want his sexuality to be the main thing people notice about him. His mother knows about his sexuality, but his dad doesn't. Deidre doesn't like Ray because she suspects that he's over the school's gossip column, Easy Izzy. Next, we meet Bianca. Bianca is Puerto Rican, a freshman, so I'm not sure if she had chosen her major at this time. They didn't mention it. She's young, fun, and naive, and that tracks since she's the youngest out of everyone. What should we expect? Finally, we meet Anya. Her major was mass communications. We had a lot of communication majors this season. Anya had a roster of men, but she wasn't giving it up like that. So everyone gets to the house. They're super excited and start to choose their rooms. Anya, Bianca, and Ray decide to room together. Orlando, Deidre, and Rodney room together. This makes so much sense now that I've watched the entire season. You'll get what I mean as we get further into it. They all start drinking early, and Rodney was already plotting on Bianca.
It's gonna be some sex in the house. Talk about Bianca.
Rodney wasn't alone, though, because Orlando was plotting on Bianca, too. Deidre wasted no time revealing her passive aggressiveness to Anya, but Anya caught on to her antics real quick.
Anya, a lady always drinks out of cup. Forget that. Look, I'm not
Better get you a little.
The final roommate arrived, Will, who announced his arrival by knocking on the door like he was the police. They didn't mention Will's major, so maybe he didn't have one either, but he was a member of the football team and had dreams of going into the NFL. He also preferred to date black women. So, of course, everyone decided to get to know each other by getting into the hot tub. They also established the house rules. No sex in the main living areas and no gangbangs. Ray and Deidre initiate a questions game where each participant must answer the question given to them. If they pause or stutter, they have to take a shot. Now, Anya lost rather quickly because she refused to answer any questions. They eventually switched to truth or dare. Audrina was dared to give Will a lap dance. Rodney mooned everybody. Audrina kissed Frey and dared Anya to grab and analyze Rodney's meat.
He working with something.
Call me BDW though. Big Willie.
Will sucked Audrina's feet. Anya dared Bianca to show one of the guys what she and her tongue ring could do. She picked Orlando to demonstrate on, and Rodney was slick jealous. Of course. Anya dares Orlando to lick somebody in the pool, and you already know who he picked.
After I licked her on her neck, she kind of gave me a little smile, a little grin. It's a wrap, I got you.
If I catch him slipping, I might go on scuba up, put him in my pocket.
They also dared Will to rap a verse from Paul Wall, and he did so flawlessly. Me personally, I think this was a missed opportunity for him to rap a verse from Bubba Sparks, since he somewhat favored him more. But that's just me. And yes, this was the end of the first episode. Audrina and Will decide to room together. They even decide to make their two beds into one big one. Meanwhile, Orlando and Deidre were in the kitchen talking. Shortly after, Bianca came in. Deidre noticed the sexual tension between Orlando and Bianca. Orlando attempted to blow salt on Bianca, so she splashed water on him, which initiated a game of get back. So they start running all around the house. They eventually end up in Orlando's room where they break his bed playing. It's not a College Hill show without a broken bed, child. The whole time Orlando and Bianca are playing, Rodney is taking it mad personal.
She teasing people right now until she finds somebody that she really want, and then all that teasing gonna stop.
The next morning, Will gets up earlier than the others. He gets ready for class rather loudly, which wakes up the other roommates. Will was used to rooming with his teammates, so he didn't understand that not everyone was used to so much activity in the mornings.
Coming here and living with girls like Bianca is totally different because you gotta deal with hearing somebody that doesn't know how to shut up. Kinda miss my dorm.
Everyone goes to their classes for the day, and later everyone met up at Buffalo Wild Wings to hang out and continue getting to know one another. Orlando and Bianca were still being flirty.
He wants to hit it, and little does he know he's not getting in my panties.
The roommates mentioned how Audrina reminded them of Felicia Keys. Bianca says she favors her, but doesn't have a fatty like her. But Audrina lets her know that she had one before she lost weight.
She's got a loud bark, but her bite is so little. It's ridiculous.
Of course, not all the roommates are tidy. Anya complains about living with the guys and how messy they are. Orlando invited his frat brothers and an older frat brother, Too Sweet, to the house. Too Sweet was 44 years old and had graduated years before any of the roommates were even born. He was a hot mess. He was chasing the girls through the house as they were actively trying to stay away from him. He was walking through the rooms, just doing too much. While most of the girls were busy trying to avoid Too Sweet, Anya was the only one brave enough to be vocal about her discomfort, which led to Too Sweet finally leaving. Whole time, Orlando was oblivious to why his roommates wanted him to leave. They confront him about Too Sweet's behavior, but he goes into how they should respect their elders. But Too Sweet was disrespecting them and their home. Respect is a two-way street.
They felt like as if they were disrespected, then I believe they were disrespected, and Orlando should handle that as a man.
Later, Orlando brings up Will and Audrina's double bed situation and asks what was going on between them. Audrina didn't offer any details, though.
I'm not letting no girl in the house know my dirt.
Smart girl. I don't know why this episode is low quality. I noticed that some episodes are not HD, so if you see a dip in footage quality, that's why. But it was homecoming week at VSU, Will and Bianca's first. Ray brings a friend over and he sings to Bianca. He was probably hoping to be discovered. Can't knock the hustle. Deidre hung out with Rodney and his frat brother. She brings up all the pretty girls on campus, probably hoping that Rodney considered her as such. Rodney had noticed Deidre. He once considered her childish cute, but noticed that she's blossoming into her grown, mature look. Deidre brings up body counts, which is crazy because it was obvious she was trying to feel Rodney out, but why ask about something you know you didn't want to reveal about yourself? Deidre calls him a slut, but at the same time mentions that she's heard great things about his bedroom talents. Yeah, she was trying to find out for herself. The conversation takes a turn when Rodney brings up someone he heard she slept with, and one thing about Deidre, she doesn't like being confronted by her own tea or shortcomings. ever. Deidre was passive, so anytime someone came at her direct, she got her feelings hurt. And of course, Rodney hurt her feelings, but he eventually went upstairs to apologize and check on her.
We talked about it, and I apologized to her. But she didn't feel like she was wrong. But she was wrong, you know what I'm saying, calling me a slut.
Bianca called her homegirl and talked about Dominic, Ray's friend that sung to her earlier. While he's already graduated and leaving soon, she hopes to chill with him in the meantime. So homecoming day is finally here, but it rains. Ray doesn't want to go since it's raining, and it sucks because this is his senior year and last homecoming before he graduates. While Will is a member of the football team, he doesn't play during the game. Ray and Anya eventually come to the game, which turns out to be a good game. They go into overtime 3 times before VSU wins. The roommates throw a house party after the homecoming game. It's a lot of people there from school. Bianca and Ray decide to get into the hot tub. Dominic comes through to see Bianca. She irritates him when she asks him to get her some ice. He was looking at her like, "How dare you ask me to get you ice? You're supposed to be fetching things for me." Bianca gets to drinking and decides to take her bikini top off. Now, it wasn't like anyone could see her tatas since she was in the hot tub, but she chose to hang the evidence for everyone to see. So, of course, all the guys migrated to the hot tub because they wanted to see some tatas.
Apparently, she just wanted that attention. And once she did that, being the dogs that they are, crowded around and wanted to see what was going on.
Bianca asked someone to pass her top because she wanted to get out of the hot tub. One of the guys handed to her but snatches their hand back when she reaches for it. They want her to reveal her goods, and Bianca was immediately pissed.
Like, she decided she wanted to take off her top, and then she gets mad when they don't give her top back to her. Like, what did you expect? They're men.
So now that Bianca was pissed about the attention she brought to herself, she wanted everyone to go home. Again, Bianca was young and flirty. Maybe she wasn't aware yet that all attention wasn't good attention. She slick brought this on herself. I hate to say it, but she did. Should men act like this? No. But because we know that they more than likely will, there are certain things we can't do in certain environments. If this was just a roommate thing, cool, but there are a bunch of randoms at this house party. This was not a safe environment for that.
What you gotta understand about men is they only gonna take it as far as you let them take it.
However,
if you let them disrespect you, they gonna disrespect you. Let's be real about it. You was in the pool, ass naked, you think they gonna say, "Oh, you're so bright." Cut it out.
Bianca's tantrum about her bikini top rubbed Rodney the wrong way.
Bianca will be a problem if she keep putting herself out there. Just be chill, you know what I'm saying? If you don't feel like taking your bra off, don't do it.
Again, Rodney, Orlando, and Deidre all roomed together. For some reason, Rodney and his frat brothers all decided to go in the room while Deidre and Orlando were still sleeping to kick it. I would have been pissed because they were in this large house. You literally had options. Why y'all loud asses in here? Go downstairs. Deidre asked Rodney about his new boo. Obviously, she's fishing for details and showing her jealousy.
You think she was the prettiest girl you ever talked to?
Yep.
You don't think we look alike?
Deidre starts spitting out hypotheticals. Let's say I have a boyfriend and I like another dude. I would never talk to the other dude. Great, but you are not Rodney. She was basically trying to make him feel guilty about dating one girl while still pursuing other girls when he made it clear he wasn't exclusive with anyone. An assistant manager's position opened up for the basketball team, so Rodney recommended Bianca, of all people. Meanwhile, Deidre was still blocking Rodney. She saw him talking to another girl and immediately jumped all in their conversation. Later that night, the roommates go to the club. They were having a good time. Audrina invited her ex, Brandon, to the club. While she still has feelings for him, she doesn't want to take him seriously again. Their situation gets pretty toxic in later episodes. Rodney learned pretty quickly that you can't refer just anyone. Bianca doesn't even show up for her first official day on the job.
I am kind of a flake. I forget a lot.
Audrina and Brandon hang out. Brandon questions if she's had other guys over there. He doesn't trust her. Audrina may have cheated in the past. It's not clear.
Do you think you're worth my time and you worth me?
This isn't healthy. Tell me why Bianca not only didn't go to work, she didn't even call and give an excuse as to why she didn't show up. She was walking around the house like she wasn't expected elsewhere. Child, the coach came to the house to get some answers, and Bianca had nothing but excuses.
I don't know what happened.
How come you didn't contact either me or Coach Collabs?
I don't have your number.
Officers' numbers and cell phone numbers here.
She was given all types of excuses. She could have simply said she overslept and felt bad. But after giving 1,000,001 reasons, and after the coaches shut down every last one of them, she eventually confesses that when she gets her cycle, she gets uncontrollably lethargic. And even this seems like another lie, but it gets the coaches to simmer down a little.
You know what time you be at practice tomorrow?
I'll be there at 4:30.
4:30? Practice tomorrow at 7 p.m. 7 p.m.
No, I didn't.
You'd have missed again.
I wouldn't. I would have been real early.
You'd have missed again because of lack of communication.
After all of this, Bianca was still not paying attention. She's definitely not keeping this job. Audrina cooks for Brandon, only for him to complain the whole time. Deidre and Rodney have their daily argument. He tells her that if she saw him walking down the street, that she'd think he was sexy. Deidre eventually admits that it was true. She knows she likes that boy.
Deidre's trying to front like she won't be all up into me, but who wouldn't?
I just didn't want to boost his head up.
Deidre mentions how some of his frat brothers, particularly this one, might be gay. Rodney gets upset at the assumption. Bianca says this after she assumed he called her a groupie, which he didn't. And again, she was passive. Rodney was direct and called her out on her shit, and she didn't want to take accountability. Meanwhile, this whole exes with benefits situation was not working for Audrina and Brandon.
I'm trying to chill with my man and you acting like it's some different all of a sudden.
I don't care. We're not in a relationship.
Maybe I'm trying to make him the one for me, and maybe he's not really.
Deidre eventually apologizes to Rodney, and he accepts it.
I knew she wanted me.
Child. This episode was filmed during Hurricane Katrina. Again, I can't believe we are coming up on its 20th anniversary. Time is flying. They decide to throw a benefit party for the hurricane victims and donate the money to a hurricane relief fund. They have a hard time finding a venue since VSU's reputation to show out at a function precedes them. Child, what were they doing? Those parties must have been lit. Ray leads the party planning and Audrina helps. The roommates also get together to help the local food bank. Will, Deidre, and Orlando work together to pull potatoes. Well, Deidre and Will, because Orlando was barely helping. Rodney and Bianca were pulling other items and sorting them. For some odd, careless reason, they decided to have a food fight at a food shelter. This was the most insensitive shit ever. This was not the time and definitely not the place. If that wasn't bad enough, Orlando was being careless with the forklift and dropped milk all over the floor and had the nerve to not want to clean it up. The program manager had to get him together.
Do you know what you just did there? This is a major disaster, man. But when we do this like this, we have to lick this up.
It went through one ear, came out the other like...
Orlando was so childish in this moment, and Deidre attempted to act upset, but she was giggling at Orlando the entire time. Then she had the nerve to say she didn't know how to sweep.
Deidre, I don't know where she came from. She really acts Hasididdy. She'll find out sooner or later what life really is.
Later on, Deidre brings up how she wasn't from the hood. She, Audrina, and Audrina's friends have a conversation about what was hood and what was considered proper. Deidre pretty much calls them ghetto. Audrina tries to educate her on how she was being insensitive and high-key insulting them. It goes right over her head. Deidre looked down on people who didn't present themselves the same way she did. Just because someone is from a certain area, it doesn't make them better or worse. Because at the end of the day, all y'all ended up at the same school. So what does that say about you?
I know enough to know that Audrina's ghetto.
That's how I felt. I don't think Deidre gets it. Like, Deidre honestly believes there is no reason why a poor person should be poor.
Ray finally finds a venue to have the benefit party. Ray was such a go-getter. Shout out to him. The other roommates pitch in to finish planning. Now, Anya hadn't been a part of the planning process. She hadn't even been at the house. Anya was all up under her her boo most of the time, and Deidre was bothered about it, so she called Anya to see if she would participate in the party planning.
I think that Deirdre is a little jealous. When I'm away from the house, I'm doing me, and I think everybody else should just do them and mind their own business.
Now, Deidre was talking mess about Anya, and of course, this gets back to Anya through Ray. And Anya was quick to confront Deidre about what she said. She tells Deidre to stay out of her business, that she feels she's sneaky and shouldn't be trusted. One thing for certain, two things for sure, Anya was going to speak her mind and stand behind it every time. Anya, Ray, Audrina, and Will talk about Deidre. Audrina brings up the hood versus proper conversation they had, and Anya brings up the drinking wine out of a cup convo they had the first night at the house. Deidre is rubbing people the wrong way, clearly.
Deirdre can call me a if she wants to, behind my back or in front of my face, because I am a and I'll be that.
Anya, Bianca, and Audrina talk about girly things. Audrina mentions wanting to be a model, which shocks the other girls because she was a known tomboy. There's a battle of the fashion shows that Audrina wants to be a part of. The purpose of this fashion show was to see who had the best fashion and who could walk the best. The winner got to be a part of Corojo's team. This was a local fashion club, I guess. Audrina is interested in trying out for it, even though she hasn't participated in a fashion show before. Ray and Bianca meet with Power 92, a local radio station, to discuss the party, what they've done so far, and additional things they need for it. Power 92 agreed to supply the DJ and help with promotion. Later on, Ray helped Audrina prepare for the modeling audition. Again, Ray is surprised that Audrina wants to try out since she is not a girly girl, but he's supportive. We fast forward to the model call. Up until Audrina walks for her audition, she practices in the back. She was nervous, but she killed it, even getting approval from Ray. However, she doesn't get picked, which makes her upset. Her assumption was that they were picking models who had potential and they were going to mentor them along the way. But that wasn't it. They wanted ready-made models and designers.
They're looking for the top girls and the top guys.
I'm just pissed off that Corojo wanted an already made model. They didn't want to help me, walk.
We fast forward to Bianca passing around the latest Izzy column. Turns out the roommates are the main subject of the latest issue. Now, Deidre thought that Ray was over the column, but since Izzy criticized Ray along with everyone else, there's doubt that he's over it now.
Ray is known for running his mouth. I heard he was Izzy. I would be cautious of what I say around Ray.
Deidre was mad about being part of the column. She was going around the house having meltdowns. Anya comforts her, and it was only after Anya did this that Deidre felt it in her heart to apologize for her actions days before, which was kind of weird. We fast forward to the night of the party. The roommates were nervous at first since the crowd was slow to arrive, but when they finally did show up, the party was lit and they had a good turnout. After watching this scene, I wouldn't mind going back to an old-fashioned 2000s party, child. It was a time. I keep telling y'all, but the roommates were able to donate a good amount to the victims of Hurricane Katrina. Back at the house, Ray, Deidre, Will, and Anya hang out. Even though Anya and Deidre made up, Anya still had reservations about Deidre.
Deirdre puts on a facade. In your face, she's the person that you want her to be, but behind your back, she's the real her.
Again, this episode is not in HD, so if it looks weird, that's why. Child, tell me why there was an additional roommate in the mix. Somehow a rat had gotten into the house, and by the looks of this place, he had plenty places to hide and plenty things to eat. Rodney and Orlando were screaming like girls. Now, y'all supposed to be the cool frat guys, and y'all are hyperventilating about this damn rat. If y'all are that scared, clean up. Ray is irritated with great reason about the mess that's all over the house, so he takes the initiative and starts cleaning up. BET's Black College Tour was coming to their campus, so Audrina wrote some poetry for the Poetry Slam. When's the last time BET did a college tour? BET used to do so many cool things back in the day. The college tour, spring bling. I couldn't wait to go to college. But by the time I got there, they weren't doing any of this. Anyway, the college tour arrives on campus. Though Audrina was excited, she was really nervous, especially after the whole Corojo thing. And unfortunately for her, her nerves got the best of her.
We've been running them up. Come on, y'all, life's too short to not be on the court. I'ma start over.
Back at the house, Ray was doing homework while Deidre and Orlando were playing. He starts getting irritated at them because they were being super loud. Somehow, Orlando found out that Ray had a bottle of cognac, so he asked Ray for a swig, and he said no.
You mean no? You mean I can't get no cognac?
So, to get under Ray's skin, Orlando started messing with him about not sharing, and Deidre, per usual, was part of the mess. She hypes up Orlando to act like he's going into Ray's room to get his cognac.
We just started messing with him after that, since he didn't want to share. Sharing is caring. What can he do when Orlando is parched? He was thirsty. I didn't want him to die of thirst.
Ray continues to warn him about his bottle of cognac. Eventually, Ray gets irritated, and Orlando and Deidre thinks this is hilarious. At this moment, I see why Ray's irritated, because how many times I gotta tell you no? And how many times I gotta warn you about my shit? Now, if he would have bopped him upside the head with a bottle, he'd be wrong. Ray had to tell these people the same thing too many times about his damn cognac, so of course he finally goes off and pours the cognac on the floor. Now this is where he lost me, because I wouldn't have poured out my good cognac. And now that Ray was officially pissed off, Orlando and Deidre wanted to cry and whine about how Ray needed to clean up the floor.
Freaking idiots in this house. Our hallway smelled like freaking liquor. The hallway was starting to stink, and I basically wanted Ray to clean it up.
Deidre tells Ray to clean up the liquor because it was making her nauseous. Ray didn't want to hear that mess, and Deidre took it way too far.
People stop acting like and clean the up.
You should stop acting like a
Whatever.
She called me a
When Deidre tells Bianca about what happened with Ray, Bianca calls Deidre out on her mess and sees the situation for what it is.
You shouldn't have been provoking him, though, by trying to open the door and whatnot. That was up.
That was funny.
But it was still up regardless.
It wasn't.
I'm glad she held her accountable. Somebody had to. Ray tells Anya about Deidre and Orlando's antics from the other night, and Bianca gives Deidre a warning.
You think it's funny now, but one day you're gonna egg somebody on and they're gonna come in and knock your ass out.
I believe the only way Deidre got attention was through her antics, and that's why she did the things she did. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Around this time, Bianca and Will got to know each other more. Nothing romantic, just getting to know each other on a friend level. Meanwhile, Ray was still pissed about the slur that Bianca called him, as he should be. Because how are you mad about my shit? I still don't get it. And then it didn't even have nothing to do with her. Child. Anyway, Audrina, Bianca, and Ray go out to eat, and they joke about Deidre's raspy voice.
Hi, my name's Deidre.
This isn't funny. You took my alarm clock. I need my alarm clock when I need to wake up.
Back at the house, Bianca and Will continue playing around with each other. Bianca walks around in a towel, and Will tells her not to, or else he'll pull it off. He doesn't get a chance to because she flashes him first.
At the moment.
Hey, yo!
These pranks keep going. Bianca steals some of Will's items and hides them around the house. We fast forward to all of the roommates together in the van. Everyone is hungry and ready to get something to eat, but Ray mentions that he's cool. Audrina makes a wild comment about how he shouldn't be hungry because he has the body fat to sustain himself. And of course, Deidre instigates. This was a wild and random comment from Audrina because for the most part, her and Ray were cool and didn't have any issues. Not sure where this came from, but Audrina keeps talking slick until Ray calls her a crackhead, and then everybody jumped on him for responding. But nobody said anything when she was calling him fat. Anyway, Bianca continues messing with Will. She hits him with a pillow, so he pours mustard and ketchup all over her. These pranks continue outside of the house, almost 4 blocks away. Bianca takes it up a notch when she goes back to the house and gets his Ninja Turtle, a sentimental item Will got from his late father. Of course, this pissed Will off and things turn serious.
Bianca, I swear on my life that if you pour some on my Ninja Turtle, I'm gonna smack out you. Girl or no girl.
Seeing how furious he is about the turtle, Bianca doesn't do anything crazy to it, but she does place it in a light fixture. This wasn't bad, but she still should have left it alone after he told her it had sentimental value. Now, Will's threatening to leave the house. Child, anytime somebody's mad, they want to leave the house. We learned that Will lost his dad at 14 and they were really close. And Ray and Will bond over the love they have for their dads. This was really sweet to me. Two men talking about their love and admiration for their dads. So it was midterm time and everyone was stressed out, especially Ray and Anya, who were in their senior year. For Audrina, school is an important thing for her. She doesn't want to go back home to the same conditions she left, so for her, school is a way out. Bianca's friend Greg helps her study. Rodney, Deidre, Greg, and Bianca were all in the same room as they were studying. Deidre saw Bianca pass Greg a note, and instead of minding her business, she assumes that the note must be about her or Rodney. So she gets with Rodney to snatch the note from Greg and Bianca to see if they were talking about them, even after Bianca tells them that the notes aren't about them. They get the note and run upstairs to read it.
Even though you have a girlfriend, I just wanted you to know that you are super sexy.
And he responded like, I think you so beautiful and so sweet too.
And this is why you should just mind your business, because Bianca wasn't worried about them. She was trying to get her Mac on. That note was so grade schoolish. Wanna be my man? Circle yes or no. Audrina calls her mom to talk about her situation with Brandon. Reminder, her and Brandon are not together, but Audrina has apparently lost the plot because she's in her feelings. Her mom gives her that good old seasoned advice.
How you gonna help somebody get over you? You can't. If a man said leave them alone, leave them the alone. Because what they saying to you is what they meant.
But did she listen? Child, you know she didn't. Young and dumb. We've all been there. You'll see what I mean in just a few. We fast forward to Bianca, Audrina, Anya, and Ray at dinner. Bianca revealed that she wasn't close with her dad and he wasn't involved. This was something that clearly bothered her. She even got emotional talking about it. But Ray and Anya didn't want to hear, in their words, not mine, her sob stories.
You know, she's always quick to cry, and I'm like, stop being a punk. You know, stop crying about it.
They just have no reality of how it is to struggle. They have no reality of how it is to get things on their own.
You gotta stop throwing a pity party for yourself. If you want something, go out there and get it.
Audrina was the voice of reason, and she stood up for Bianca since she could relate to how she felt. I don't want to say that Anya and Ray didn't understand struggle, but they were insensitive to struggles that they couldn't relate to. You shouldn't have to relate to someone's struggle to acknowledge them and be empathetic. They lacked compassion in this moment. They just wanted her to get over it, which kind of makes the situation that comes up later ironic. Bianca had to drop one of her classes because she couldn't afford to keep it. It's the morning of midterms. Anya oversleeps and arrives to school late. Unfortunately for her, her professor already told the class that if they were late, they should just expect a 0 for the exam. And when Anya showed her face in class, her teacher stood on business and kicked her out of class. Anya talks to the dean, and the dean stands by the professor and tells Anya that it's up to the professor if she'll get the chance to take her midterm. Ray passes his midterm and planned to celebrate with the other roommates by throwing a party at the house. Anya couldn't join in on the fun because she had to study for the midterm she missed. Her professor let her take it after all.
As usual, I got my way. My professor spoke with Dr. Thomas, and he made it so that I can take my midterm.
This was why she couldn't relate to Bianca. Not everyone's so lucky. Back to this party, child. The woo-woos were there. Rodney and Orlando's frat brothers were there. Audrina convinced Brandon to come over. She didn't listen to her mother's advice at all. Oh, and Audrina cooked some old wings and may have given Will food poisoning. The roommates played sex trivia. Naturally, it was the guys versus girls. As they are playing, they had to determine if what was on the card was truth or myth. One of the questions was, what did half of men raised on farms have sex with? And the answer was an animal, which causes Rodney to say this.
Her sheep got the wettest up like that. I already got it closest to a female not all animals.
It's the fact that somebody was disgusting enough to do it for there to even be confirmation. For this to be a thing that he'd even heard. So wild. We got some sick people in this world. The guys end up winning despite the girls being in the lead for most of the game. And since they won, the guys wanted the girls to give them a striptease. But the girls were quicker than that because they all went upstairs, put on every article of clothing they owned, and went downstairs to give the guys what they didn't want.
Striptease was garbage. No, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Striptease was garbage.
Later, Rodney decides to give the girls bedroom tips, but Audrina wasn't pleased with Rodney's jackrabbit techniques. We find out that Rodney prefers women to be on top because Deidre asked him what his favorite position was. Homegirl was fishing for details. Since all the roommates were single, well, everybody but Anya, she had a situation. They decided to set each other up on blind dates. Anya was lucky enough to draw her own name, so she sat back and watched everyone draw each other's names. She didn't want them to catch on and force her to pick someone else's name. Audrina pulled Deidre's name. She wanted to set her up with a funny big guy. Will pulled Bianca's name. He planned to set her up with one of his football buddies. Orlando pulled Ray's name. He had every intention of getting him back for their cognac debacle. He is still bothered by Ray's cognac. Ray pulled Will's name and planned to set him up with a butterhead. So, we fast forward to Will's date, and he was not pleased.
I heard Ray joking about it was gonna be some big brolic shorty, and sure enough it was.
Rodney pulled Audrina's name and planned to get back at her for picking Deidre's date. He knew Audrina was gonna set her up. Deidre's messy ass helped Orlando find Ray's date. So, we go to Ray meeting his and Audrina's dates.
And I was like, it's an old woman downstairs. Who is she? Audrina's date was this guy from school named Tom.
Ray thought this was hilarious and rushed upstairs to tell Audrina. They were so mean. Meanwhile, Will goes out to eat with his date. Yeah, he was ready to get it over with and go home. Deidre, Orlando, and Rodney thought they were setting up Audrina and Ray to have bad dates, but y'all, they had a good old time. Love that for them. It was time for Deidre to meet her date. Audrina set her up with a girl instead of a big guy. They have a mild-mannered date. Deidre was awkward the whole time, but they managed to talk a little bit. Her date came and went. Later on, Orlando had eaten some chili that was running right through him. While he's using the bathroom, Deidre is giggling like a schoolgirl outside the restroom, asking silly questions like, "What are you doing? Are you taking a dump? Girl, if you don't go on somewhere and let that man have a BM in peace." When Orlando comes out the bathroom, Deidre notices a stain on the back of his shirt.
It's not.
Now you're done.
Deidre picked Rodney's date, Melissa, his ex, who he dated for 2 years. Melissa was Deidre's woo-woo sister, which makes what happens later really weird and awkward. Now, Melissa technically has a boo, but she requested to go on a date with Rodney. Their date goes well, and the chemistry was still there between the two. Melissa reveals that she regretted playing around even though Rodney was doing the same, and Rodney admits that he used to be in love with her. Meanwhile, back at the house, Orlando decided it was time to get back at Deidre, so he waited till she got in the shower and snatched her clothes so she'd be forced to come out of the bathroom with no clothes on.
She used the shower curtain to cover herself up. I did want to see that little body naked, though, man.
Bianca picked Orlando's date. Surprisingly, she didn't do him too bad. Bianca's date, child, this was a true hell date. It all started with him complaining about her shirt, suggesting that she must be a bad driver because she's a woman. Apparently, he had Facebook pics of himself holding guns and stuff, so who was he to judge anybody? Orlando and his date went bowling. They had good chemistry as well, and they talked shit the entire time and had fun. Orlando brings his date back to the house. I think he was the only person to do so. His date's name was Tania. They plan to go upstairs and chill. Deidre sees them heading upstairs and immediately starts asking 1,000,001 questions. She even threatens to call his girl to snitch.
Hey, Orlando's about to go on a date with the female to a bar.
Now, Tania had already told this girl, in a nice way, to mind her business, but she didn't listen. So Tania responds by calling her a jump off. And you already know Deidre don't like anybody spreading her tea, so she gets riled up. Every time Deidre made a passive insult, Tania hit her with a direct 1-2 combo. Girl was going toe-to-toe with her.
She should have stayed out of the conversation.
You shouldn't have spoke on what you didn't know.
Listen, I'm not talking to you.
It don't matter, but you're talking about me. So
the keeping score thing was so petty, but so hilarious. Tania clearly won.
I'm loving that 1999 rock merch.
Tania challenges her to come downstairs, and Deidre does. She continues to talk mess, and instead of tussling with Tania, she starts tussling with Orlando. Anything to get his attention away from Tania. The roommates are tasked to create a 30-second radio spot for the Wrap It Up campaign. They were working with Jennifer, who was the radio station director. She told the group that they would have to come down to the station Wednesday at 5 to create and record the radio spot. Deidre, being communications manager, wanted and needed to impress Jennifer. So Deidre takes the initiative to discuss the radio spot with everyone, but nobody wanted to participate just yet. We fast forward to the guys and some of the girls at the Shake Junt having a grand old time. Deidre decided that she wanted some attention, so she got on stage to dance. Audrina gave Brandon a lap dance, which he enjoyed as well. And of course, nobody but Audrina showed up at the radio station to record the radio spot. Jennifer told them to come up to the station, stat. Jennifer was so annoyed that she pulled the plug on their first recording session. Later on at the house, Audrina called Brandon to see when he was coming over, but she learns that Brandon had been there and left after waiting for her for 45 minutes. Audrina was upset about him leaving too.
He treats me like I care, like I care nothing for him. Like he honestly believes that I don't give two flying about the way he feels.
Not her crying over him leaving. This man was manipulative AF.
Oh, I can't believe he came all the way here. Who does stupid like that? Somebody who really doesn't want to spend time with you.
Bianca agrees to take Audrina over Brandon's house. He eventually apologizes, but not really.
I'm sorry that you're sad because I didn't stay. Is
I'm
that
not really
okay?
sad. I'm just...
Clearly, Audrina is more in love with him than he is with her.
How about you? Hope for the best. Expect the worst.
To get the roommates more involved with the Wrap It Up campaign, Jennifer had Denise come to the house and talk to them. Denise contracted HIV the first time she had sex at 13. Listening to her story made the group aware of how serious this project was and gave them the motivation needed to complete the radio spot. Now it was time to complete the TV PSA. The roommates, well, everyone except Rodney, because he had class, go to D.C. to attend Rosa Parks' funeral. On the ride there, Orlando is asked if he hooked up with Bianca. He doesn't want to give any details, but cameras never lie.
I plead the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth.
The funeral was emotional for everyone. It was so many people there for the funeral that the church was packed. They couldn't even get inside, so they stayed outside and watched the service. Random, but I must say it. Oprah and that hair. So thick, pretty, and healthy. Anyway, it was time for the roommates to complete the TV PSA, so they went home to practice and plan out what they were going to do for the video. This time, Deidre takes the reins since, again, she wanted to make a good impression, which so far, it had been a struggle. The first plan turned out to be kind of corny, so they take a much simpler approach that works. Audrina and Bianca show what they had done so far, and Bianca recorded this voiceover. Meanwhile, all the other roommates were at home dealing with a rodent problem. Look at this house. This is why y'all have rats. You gotta make it hard for the pets, child. So now that the video portion was done, it was time to edit, and the roommates were back to their old habits of not showing up to do what they needed to do. Everyone's missing except for Bianca. Bianca called Deidre to ask her to record the last shot, a still of an empty living room for the video. She agreed to do it, but it took her forever to do it. Dr. Cotton starts getting pissed and he asks Bianca to put her on the phone. He basically tells her to hurry up and she hangs up in his face, which really set him off. He told Bianca that when Deidre arrived to let him know. Deidre was failing at this whole make a good impression thing, plus Dr. Cotton was going to be her teacher the following year. I'm not sure what took Deidre so long since they literally lived 5 minutes from campus, but she eventually got there and provided the video. It was Rodney's last night in the house, so the roommates got together to hang out in the hot tub one last time. They asked each other who would they hook up with if they were the last people on Earth. Anya picks Ray because she found out, some kind of way, that he had a big ego. And yes, Deidre was responsible for this question. She asked Rodney who he'd pick, and he doesn't reveal it to the roommates, but he does reveal it to the camera that he'd pick Deidre.
I would pick Deidre, but I don't want to put it out like that because me and Deidre is friends.
Well, let's be real. I know Rodney would pick me.
Later that night, Rodney decides to act on what he said earlier and invited Deidre to his bed. This girl finally got what she wanted. Now you know Deidre was not going to reveal her tea.
Something's bound to happen. And that night, something happened.
I don't know what me and Rodney were talking about. We were talking about a lot of stuff, and it's really not ringing a bell right now. We did not have sex.
Well.
Yeah.
She sure wasn't thinking about that woo-woo, sister. Deidre wanted the D. And got it, allegedly. Audrina, Will, Brandon, and Ray went bowling. Ray refers to Audrina and Brandon as Bobby and Whitney, very much so. Without the drug use, of course. Toxic love, for sure. Audrina compares Brandon to a drug habit. I'm assuming he must be her first love. That's what this gives. Rodney packs up to leave the house. He's leaving early due to a basketball tournament, so by the time he comes back, the show will be done. Deidre is sad to see him go. I'm sure she is. The remaining roommates go to their final dinner together. Audrina invites Brandon, and Anya invites her boo thing. Ray invites Peaches, his blind date from earlier, and Bianca has a date as well. They all reminisce about their time together, and Anya brings up something that Deidre didn't want anyone to know or talk about.
Hey, Deirdre, I love this stuff. I suck like 6. Why are you playing? I was like, hold up, Deirdre. Wait a minute.
Again, she can start mess all day and be all up in other people's business, but you can't bring up anything about her. Wild. They bring up Audrina kissing Ray on the first night, and I don't know why they said this in front of Brandon, and I don't know why Brandon got mad because Ray didn't want anything Audrina had. But of course, he got upset and breaks up with her at the table in front of everybody, which is crazy because technically they weren't together in the first place.
He made me a promise and he said he would stop overreacting and he would take a minute and listen to what I had to say before he flipped the f*** out.
I have a funny feeling that this dude was looking for an excuse the entire time. He just wanted to feel justified in leaving and not be considered the bad guy. It just makes sense.
I don't care how much you swear you said you told me, you didn't tell me. Is that family?
I apologize.
That's fine. You can apologize. You know my rules.
Their situation was not healthy, and it was so intense. Audrina reminds Brandon that he promised that they would work on their relationship, but he didn't want to hear that. He ended up leaving, so she went back to the dinner alone. Child, I would have been so embarrassed. Audrina should have listened to her mom for sure. When you're young, you think people giving you advice don't really know what they're talking about, but 9 times out of 10, they are not hating. They are really trying to prevent you from repeating their mistakes or save you from something. Like I said before, this is a lesson we have all learned. Eventually, Audrina gets it. She comes to terms with the fact that she and Brandon can't be together and that their relationship is not healthy. At the end of the day, you know when you're tired, and Audrina was tired. We fast forward to the last morning at the house for the roommates. Everyone talks about the fun they had, the things they've learned, and what they'll miss. And they leave. And that was the end of this season. As I mentioned before, Ray went on to be a cast member on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. He's the best-selling author of Mess with a Message. He also received an honorary doctorate degree in humanitarianism. Rodney is doing well. He's a father of 2. He also wrote a chapter in the book, The HBCU Experience, which detailed his experience at VSU. Bianca went on to get her MBA. She also wrote a chapter in the same book Rodney did, and she's a pilot, which is really awesome. Orlando went on to have a career in film. He worked as an actor in the films Famous and Jerusalem. He does some casting directing as well. I wasn't able to find much on Will other than the fact that he's a father of 4. Deidre went on to do some behind-the-scenes work in television production as a production assistant. She also had a side business selling clothes online, and she's married with kids. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of info on Audrina. She may be a hairstylist now, but this was years ago, so I'm not sure if that's still the case. Hopefully, she's doing well. And I wasn't able to find any new updates on Anya, but I hope she's doing good also. Anyways, thanks for watching this recap. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. This will be my last video for 2024. So all I want to say is thank you. Thank you for your continued support and the awesome vibes you bring to my channel. Thank you to my day ones who are still here and present in the comment section and chats. I appreciate you all so much. You don't even know. As always, we gotta do our yearly affirmations because, child, we gonna need them for 2025 and beyond. So let me say, I hope you remain protected from anything that is not for the good of you and yours or may have bad intentions. I hope you heal in places that need to be healed. I hope you accomplish any and everything that you are working towards. I hope you are kind to yourselves and know that your soul is needed and appreciated, and I'm so glad you're here. I hope that despite everything, you feel and experience joy unimaginable in 2025 and beyond. With that being said, I'll see you in 2025, you guys, because I'm tired. I need a break. Bye.